This week we've been talking about using fractions, so I just want to show you guys a real life example of how we can use fractions in baking. So we have this chocolate chip muffin recipe and it makes 12 muffins, but I want to make 24. So I'm going to double everything in this recipe and we'll see what we get. So first we're going to start with the 1 cup milk. And as you can see here, so we start with 1 cup and we want to double the recipe, so we add another cup, which equals 2 cups. So we'll go ahead and get that. Okay. Next on the list is vinegar. So the original recipe calls for 1/4 cup, so we're just going to add another 1/4 cup, which makes 2/4 cup, and we know that 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So we're going to add 1/2 cup of vinegar. And we're just going to let that sit for a little bit while we mix the rest. So next we're on to flour, and the original recipe calls for 2.5 cups, so we're going to add 2.5 more cups, and that equals 5 cups. Okay, so after the flour, we're going to add some baking soda. So the original recipe calls for 1 tablespoon. We add a tablespoon, so that makes 2 tablespoons. The next ingredient is salt, and it calls for 1/2 teaspoon, and so we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon, which makes 1 teaspoon. Next ingredient is sugar, and the original recipe calls for 1 cup, so we're going to add a cup, and that makes 2 cups sugar. Okay, and then we're just going to mix that up really quick and get it all mixed together. Next we're going to add butter. And the original recipe calls for a 1/2 cup, and so we're going to add a 1/2 cup, and it's going to make 1 cup. Now I already measured and melted the butter in here because these sticks of butter are actually labeled, as you can see. 2 sticks equals 1 cup, so I just went ahead and put these 2 sticks and melted them in the microwave. So we're just going to add our melted butter. Next part is eggs. So the original recipe calls for 2, and so we're going to add 2, and that's easy. That's 4 eggs. And I'm just going to whisk those together. And add them to the rest. The next ingredient is vanilla, so it asks for 1 tablespoon, so we're going to add a tablespoon to make 2 tablespoons. After we fully mix the batter, and it should look a little bit like this, we're going to add my personal favorite part, the chocolate chips. So the original recipe calls for 1.5 cups, and then we're gonna add 1.5 cups, so that makes a total of 3 cups. I'm gonna take these kind of a few at a time. Now that we're done adding our 3 cups of chocolate chips, we're just going to take the batter and pour them into 24 of these muffin tins. Now our chocolate chip muffins are ready to go in the oven. And voila! Now we have our 24 muffins, and this just shows us how useful fractions can be in our everyday lives.